Hey mamas! Today I am sharing with you my 3 favorite hip poses for hip pain. And these are really good ones you can do prenatal or postpartum, or even if you're just a busy mom. And you may have seen them before, but you may not have had the same instruction, or a couple of my tips you may never have heard of before. And these are really good to do if you are experiencing sore hips and you don't need any equipment, so it's easy to do. I would just recommend sitting close to a wall because that is part of the magic for these ones. All right, so let's get started. So the first one you're going to do is you're going to bring the soles of your feet together and knees wide apart, but you're going to sit really close to the wall. So the reason for that is so that you can have your back on the wall to start. And as you have your back on the wall, you're going to think of your pelvic tilt a little bit. So you're going to think of tilting your pelvis forward so that your back pops away from the wall, and then think of tilting your pelvis the other way so that your back really presses into the wall. So you can think of like your tailbone going towards the wall and then away from the wall, and then just seeing where you feel that the most. And then after a few breaths, when you feel warmed up here, you're going to bring your hands onto the wall and you're going to push the wall away from you. And that gives you a really good quality of stretch in this pose. All right, and then you're gonna hold that. I like to hold the pose for like 7 to 10 breaths. And you can definitely hold it longer if you like. So now we're going to come into our next one. So you're gonna sit in the same position, but you're gonna come into a wide-legged seated position. So now we're gonna come into an internal rotation. So this one's really good because we don't have a whole lot of opportunity to find internal rotation in our legs during the day. So what I mean by that is if you literally think of your leg turning in, so like thinking of the seam of your pants, turning down towards the floor in this scenario. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your hands over one leg. I'm bringing them over my left leg. You're going to lean over your left leg. Then you're going to turn that inner pant seam down towards the floor. So the inner edge of your foot should turn towards the floor. Maybe it doesn't come all the way, and that's okay, but that's the direction you're going in. And you're thinking of that leg bone literally turning in the socket. And I like to hold that for maybe like 5-ish breaths. And you're going to make sure you do it on both sides. Notice if one side is easier than the other, or if one side feels like smoother to turn than the other. Make sure you spend about equal time. Unless one side feels super different than the other, you can spend a little bit more time on the tougher side. Then you're going to come back to center. Then we're going to do an external rotation. So you're going to come into a low lunge, and your foot that's forward is going to be the leg closer to the wall. You're going to make sure you're probably like 6 inches to maybe a foot away from the wall. And you're going to turn your toes out because we're thinking of going the other way now. So we're thinking of the inner pant seam turning up towards the sky. Then you're going to let your knee come out towards the wall. So the reason why you want to try doing this close to a wall is I want you to think of pushing your knee in towards the wall. That's going to help you to find a lot of external rotation. And you're going to really try to keep your toes strongly flexed because that's going to keep your ankle strong here since the inner edge of your foot is lifting off of the floor. And you can stay where you are, or you can walk your hands further forward to deepen the stretch. And once again, you can spend 5 to 10 breaths here, just noticing how it feels, and especially noticing if it feels different than your internal rotation. Make sure you do both sides, and I hope that is helpful for you. If you have any questions about that, feel free to drop them in the comments. And if you like that one, you can check out some of my other videos and hit subscribe if you like. And I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.